Hi guys. 2 weeks left and then we're done. So I have this assignment and then next week I'll be doing another assignment. We are going over data this week, specifically the measures of central tendencies. So what I'm going to ask is that you do this you watch the YouTube video, do the worksheet over measures of central tendencies, showing all of your work. Check with the answer key that I will be sending out with the worksheet, and then email me your work. That's all I need you to do. I decided not to do any more meetings. If you would like to meet with me, just email me and I will set up a meeting to help you. Okay, so measures of central tendencies. There are multiple things we're going to be calculating when you find the measures of central tendencies. You need to find the mean, which is the average of the data. You need to find the mean absolute deviation. This represents how far the data points are away from each other using absolute value. So it's basically just saying what's the distance from the middle to all the numbers. Mode, the number that occurs the most in the data. The median is like your middle number. You're going to line them up from small to big, and you find what number's in the middle. If there's two numbers in the middle, you add them together and divide by 2. Lower quartile. You are going to, once you find the middle, that gives you a lower half and an upper half. Okay, the lower half, you find the lowest number of that. The upper half, you find the middle number of that. That's what the lower quartile and the upper quartile is. The interquartile range is you just subtracting those two numbers you just found. Tell me how far they are apart. The range, not the interquartile range, the range is the largest number of the entire data minus the smallest number in the data. Okay, let's get to calculating. Right here, I'm going to start with mode. Mode's pretty easy. Okay, when you look at the mode, okay, you're looking for what number occurs the most. Well, there's 1, 2, 2 3s, a 4, 3 5s, a 6, 2 6s, a 7, and 8. 5s occur the most. So your mode is 5. That's all you do. Here's your answer. Median, that's your middle number. So what you do is you just figure out what's in the middle. Keep crossing out. Okay, I've crossed out 2 from each side, 3 from each side, 4 from each side, 5 from each side. What number's in the middle? 5. This is your middle number. That is your median. It's literally all you do. You just put 5 there. Okay, when you have one number in the middle, when you're trying to find the lower and upper quartile, these are called your, what's going to be your, you're going to get your interquartile range from this. And then next week, you're going to use this to actually make your box and whisker plot. So you'll need this for next week too. You have the lower quartile. Okay, and the upper quartile. Okay, so we are going to, when there's one number in the middle, you cross that number out. You don't use it. If there are two numbers in the middle, you split them down the middle and use both of them. So you're crossing this number out. You're trying to find the middle of the lower part. This is your lower part. And this is your upper part. Trying to find the middle of it. So let's start. Cross off 1 from each side, 2 from each side. What's your middle? 3. So your lower quartile is 3. Okay, now we do it to the upper quartile. Cross 1 out from each side. What's your middle? It's 6. Okay, next we're going to do your quartile range, your interquartile range. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to show the work by like crossing stuff out and then listing out like on the paper what everything is. Your interquartile range is taking your upper quartile, which is 6, minus your lower quartile, which is 3. Well, 6 minus 3 is 3, your interquartile range. Now there's a difference. There's an interquartile range, which you subtract your quartiles. There's also a thing called your range. That is the range of the entire data. It's always your largest number, where here is your largest number, 8. 8 minus your smallest number, which is 2, is 6. Okay, now we have two last things we're going to do. We're going to do mean, which is your average, and then we're going to do what I call MAD, which is your mean absolute deviation. Okay, the mean absolute deviation is probably going to be the most amount of work, but it's not hard. You just have to make sure that you are plugging it into your calculator correctly. That's what it all comes down to here, making sure you plug it in your calculator correctly. So let's start with your mean. On your mean, you want to add up all of your numbers. So you're going to add up 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. So you're going to add all of this up together. So we make sure you have all the numbers, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and then we have 3 5s, 2 6s, and 7 8. And then you count, how many numbers do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 numbers. And just to make sure we have the right numbers, let's count up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's what you're going to divide it by. However many numbers there are, you count them, and that's what you divide it by. Okay, next you just take out your calculator. You add up all of these numbers. Just plug it in. 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. All of that into your calculator. When you add these up, you should get 54. And you're taking that 54 after you add it up and dividing it by 11 still, because you still have that divided by 11. So start by adding the numbers first and then you divide, because this adding is technically in parentheses and it needs to happen first. So your answer is 4.9. Your mean is 4.9. Okay, now we're going to do what I call the MAD. It's your mean absolute deviation. Okay, this is telling you how far apart these numbers are. Are they really spread out or are they really close together? If they're just one away from each other, if they're just one away from the mean, okay, the number's going to be smaller. So if they're all really close together and the numbers are all really close together, your mean's going to be small. If they're really far apart, your MAD is going to be a big number. And that's the key, is that MAD tells you how spread out the numbers are. The bigger the number is, the more spread out your values are. The smaller the number is how close the values are. Okay. And if I had more time, I would go into more of an explanation of this, but I want to just have you guys understand this part now. When you're doing the MAD, you are basically figuring out the distance, absolute value distance, that each number is away from your mean. So absolute value sign, so you're doing 2 minus 4.9 plus 3 minus 4.9. And you have to do that for every number. Since there are 2 3's, you have to write that one twice. 3 minus 4.9 plus 4 minus 4.9. And if you remember, these absolute value signs, what they're telling you to do is that once you subtract, if it's a negative number, you take that negative off. There are no negative numbers in an absolute value. If it's a positive number, you keep it positive. You have to keep them positive and negative. Okay, plus absolute value 5 minus 4.9 plus absolute value 5 minus 4.9 plus absolute value 5 minus 4.9 plus absolute value 6 minus 4.9 plus absolute value 6 minus 4.9 plus absolute value 7 minus 4.9 plus 8, absolute value 8 minus 4.9. Okay, what you're going to do is inside of each absolute value, you're going to subtract. Plug it in your calculator. 2 minus 4.9, 2.9. 3 minus 4.9, 1.9. 3 minus 4.9, 1.9. 4 minus 4.9, 0.9. Oops. And then 5 is going to be 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. And then 6 is 1.1. And 7 is 2.1. And 8 is 3.1. Okay, once you're done with that, you're finding the average of these. So you're basically adding all those numbers up and dividing by how many there were. There are 11 numbers up here, so there should be 11 numbers down here. So you're going to do this. You're going to add it up. 2.9 plus 1.9. You're just taking the numbers up here and adding them. 2.9 plus 1.9 plus 1.9 plus 0.9 plus 0.1 plus 0.1 plus 0.1 plus 1.1 plus 2.1 plus 3.1, and it's all divided by 11. Add these all up. Add everything inside the parentheses up. You should get 15.3 divided by 3. That would give you 5.1. This number is pretty big, so that means the numbers are really separated from the mean. The mean is 4.9, so it means that they're a lot further. They're up to like 5 away, or I mean, there's the middle of it would be about 5 away, 5 numbers away. If you have a MAD of like 1, that means that all of your numbers are really close together. Okay, let's do this again. I'm using almost the exact same data set, except for I am taking one number off at the end because it's going to change how we find the median and the lower and upper quartiles. So I want you guys to see how that's done both ways. So I'm going to go through these again. Similar problem, not the same problem, it's a similar problem. Okay, so let's start with mode. What happens the most frequent? There are 3 5s, so it's going to be 5. Okay, median. What's in the middle? This is going to be what affects. So we have 2, we get rid of the 1 on the outside. There's 2 on, now 3. Got rid of 4 on each side. Oh man, we have 2 in the middle here. So what that means, since there's 2 numbers in the middle, instead of just 1 number like last time, you have to add both of those numbers up. Okay, and then divide by how many numbers there are, so you're dividing by 2. You're finding the average of those 2 numbers. So 5 plus 5 is 10 divided by 2, so your median is 5. Okay, now we have to do your lower quartile. Just put lower Q. So here, and we're going to do the upper quartile. Since there's 2 in the middle, you don't cross that one out. You actually use both of them now. This is going to be your lower side, and you include that 5 that was in the middle. And this is your upper side, and again you include that 5 that's in the middle. Okay, and we're going to start. We're going to cross out on both sides. 1 on both sides, 2 on both sides. Here's your middle. So that means your lower quartile is 3. So again, we're going to do 1 on both sides. You have to use that what's in the middle now. And your middle is going to be 6. The interquartile range is just going to be you subtracting those 3 numbers. So 6 minus 3, so your